I keep seeing posts and videos on YouTube about makeup school and how unnecessary it is. I do agree that there's a lot you can learn on your own. YouTube has a lot of great resources, and there's books out there and art classes. I'm not saying you can't do it, but I feel that there's a lot of value I got in makeup school that isn't being talked about, so I want to share my experience and the value I see that makeup school has. I feel like school taught me a lot of good habits about sanitation and cleanliness, and they taught me how to have a better eye and recognize when things could be better that I might not have known to look for. I took a charcoal drawing class, and the professor said learning how to be an illustrator isn't about learning how to draw, it's about learning how to see. And I really liked what he said, and I think that's really true with makeup as well. I had done makeup that I thought looked really good, and then I had an instructor come up and say, no, that's not blended well enough, and I didn't see it, and they did, because they have a trained eye. So they were training me to see with their eye. So just because you watch a lot of YouTube videos and you practice on your friends and you might be really good, if you don't have somebody looking over your shoulder occasionally and telling you how you need to be better, how can you grow? It's not just about practice, it's about having constructive criticism to see things differently. I'm not saying I'm brilliant and I know everything there is to know about makeup application, but I do feel that there was a certain level of professionalism and quality of skills that I got by going to school. And sometimes you don't even realize how much you've learned until you're with people who don't necessarily have the same education you have. I've worked on sets where there were people who called themselves makeup artists and they were newer in the industry and they were making mistakes that I thought were pretty obvious, like fallout on their cheeks that they didn't wipe off, or just bad habits, like putting glue on an eyelash and blowing on it so it dries and you're getting your bacteria all over it and you're about to put it on somebody else's face. There's all these things that I see people do and I'm like, how do you not know better? Well, they didn't go to school. I also think that working at a makeup counter is a great experience for anyone who wants to be a makeup artist. That might even be something to consider before going to makeup school or even after. That's a great way to learn while getting paid. Some people find that that's all they need to become a makeup artist and they don't go to school. And in that case, like if you've been working at a makeup counter for a while and you've been doing complete looks on people of all ages and ethnicities and even genders, and you feel like anybody who sits in your chair you would know what to do and you have all the supplies in your personal toolkit that you could accommodate them, then great. So if you feel confident, who am I to say that you aren't ready? If you feel ready, then great. I just know that I wasn't ready, and I had already gone to cosmetology school and worked with Mary Kay. My main reason for attending makeup school was to get more experience and feel comfortable with anybody sitting in my chair, to learn special effects makeup, and I also wanted to be in Hollywood. I wanted to know what that was like and to see if it was a place I wanted to live. I chose the Makeup Designory, which is also called m.u.d. I was in school for about 5 months. I was lucky enough to have a class that was more diverse because that was something I really wanted, was practice on people of diverse skin tones and facial structures. If you're going to a school where everyone is your age and your ethnicity, you're not going to feel as equipped to go out into the public and be a makeup artist because you haven't practiced on a wide variety of people. Another thing that I learned in makeup school was it wasn't just about me practicing on other people, it was other people practicing on me. Having someone else poke and prod at you teaches you what's comfortable as a client and allows you to be a better makeup artist to other people. And I found this especially to be the case when putting prosthetics on people's faces. Having prosthetics put on you is kind of uncomfortable, and sometimes you can't breathe from your nose. And it gives you a little bit more empathy for the person in your chair, and it allows you to have a lighter touch. I was working on an actor recently and I rubbed something off and I was like, oh, I'm sorry if I'm being a little rough. And he said, oh no, you have such a soft touch compared to other people I've worked with. And I was like, oh really? And he's like, yeah, some people just like scrub at you or, poke at you and whatnot. And if you don't know what that feels like, you might end up doing something like that as well. So I think it's really important to have people apply makeup to you. Even things as simple as how to set up your station. I had a teacher say, if you're right-handed, put your station to your right and have your client or performer sit in front of you here so you're using your right hand and you can easily apply. Because I've seen makeup artists put it on their left and then they're crossing over their bodies and it's super uncomfortable, it's super inconvenient, you can make a big mess. yeah, maybe I would have figured that out on my own if someone hadn't told me, but I specifically remember a teacher saying to do that, and I was like, oh, yeah, duh. So now I always make sure things are on my right. And then I also consider my light source when I'm setting up. There's also little tricks, you know, a teacher will say, you know, I love this moisturizer. It's really great for moisturizing the skin, but it's also great as a makeup remover. You know, if your cat eye gets a little weird, you can get a Q-tip, stick it in this moisturizer and rub off the excess, and then you don't have to worry about having makeup remover left on their face. You just leave moisturizer on their face, and that's always a good thing. I also think school is great for networking. You meet a lot of other makeup artists that become your friends that you can work with in the future. They might get opportunities and hire you as an assistant or vice versa. Personally, I didn't do super great socially at makeup school. I was pretty young and ADHD, and I even had someone pull me aside and tell me I was not liked and I needed to stop being so annoying and stop assuming everyone was my friend, and don't butt into conversations that aren't yours, and don't laugh at jokes that have nothing to do with you because they're inside jokes and it's none of your business. So yeah, I don't know if that's considered bullying, but it wasn't fun. So I don't want to act like I had a wonderful experience. It wasn't perfect. I was very lonely, but I do feel like the education I got and the habits I got were good. They also set you up with a kit. And yes, you buy products from the school, and so people go, oh, that's not good. They're making you buy things. You know, it's all about money. And yeah, sure, it's a business for them. But I really thought the kit they set me up with was really great. They showed me you can make a ton of looks with just a few colors. You don't need to fill your kit with everything under the sun. I feel like people buy a lot of makeup they don't need. I'm pretty intimidated sometimes when I look on YouTube and see all the palettes and all the things people have that they're using, and they're always using something new, and I'm like, I have the same stuff I've had for years that I still haven't finished using, and I still use them. You know, I'll replace a certain eyeshadow here and there with a new one if I run out, but you know, I feel kind of old school and overwhelmed by how much stuff there is out there, and sometimes you don't need everything under the sun. Another thing that m.u.d was really great about was it has a great reputation. I worked with photographers who specifically said I only work with m.u.d graduates because I know they were taught well. So I had that Harvard of makeup school under my belt, and I felt like people took me more seriously. That doesn't mean I know everything. That doesn't mean I'm an expert makeup artist. That doesn't mean I don't have more to learn. Another thing that school taught me was a lot about resumes and portfolio building and website building and networking. I already knew quite a bit about that because as an actress from a very young age, we had to make resumes. But I mean, resumes for makeup artists are different than resumes for actors. In makeup school, they even provided us with photographers and real models to work on in our portfolio class. So you had practice working on a set. They gave you the photos, which was great to help build your portfolio. So I felt really equipped. We did a lot of drawing in school, which was actually really great. I actually recommend everyone who wants to be a makeup artist to take an art class, a painting class, and an illustration class. Painting, you learn more about color and mixing and blending, and in illustration, you learn more about shadows and contours and highlights, and you start to see things differently. So I thought it was really valuable that in makeup school, we did a lot of drawing. Just because you are great at applying makeup on yourself and your best friend does not mean you're going to be great at applying makeup on any random person that sits in your chair. If they have a different eye shape than you, if they have a different skin texture or skin color or face shape, you're going to be at a loss. And I find a lot of people have only been taught, you know, one or two ways to do things. And it's not just about how you choose to apply the makeup to make it look pretty. It's how you talk to the client or the performer, how to make them comfortable in your chair, how to not poke at them and hurt them, how to not have bad breath. I think being an extrovert definitely helps me as a makeup artist. It gives me that gift of gab and that ability to talk to a client and feel comfortable in what I'm doing. But I think school gave me a lot of that comfort, a lot of that practice. I mean, that's all you did every day was practice on each other. And like I said, I didn't get along with all the girls, and so I had to be touching people's faces who didn't like me as a person. That's really hard. It's very intimate to be sticking something up close in their face, to be removing an eye booger or even a booger, you know? that's up close, that's personal. Like I said, you can learn a ton by just working at a cosmetic counter. You can learn a ton by being somebody's apprentice. But is somebody really experienced gonna wanna hire an apprentice who doesn't know anything, or an apprentice who's went to school? And maybe you don't have to go to the most expensive makeup school for 5 months like I did. You could take a class at MAC. They have classes for, a weekend seminar here and there. Krylon in San Francisco has classes that you can take. I think there's always value in more education. So that was pretty much a sum up of my experience at the Makeup Designory. So I recommend it. Thank you so much for watching and getting to know me a little bit better. If you'd like to learn more from me, I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my channel. Like I said, I'm a hairdresser, makeup artist, and an actress, and so my videos revolve around all those things. I have a lot of theatrical makeup videos specifically as well, and vlogs of me going on set and working in a variety of different situations here in the Bay Area. So again, please subscribe. That would mean a lot to me, and thank you so much.